I'm wearing a robe because it's clearly nighttime and Baguette's asleep. So what we're gonna make this time is something that's really easy. It just takes a long time to make. We're making falafel. If you want to serve falafel Friday night for dinner, I suggest starting Wednesday night. Yes, my friends, making falafel is a lot like pleasing a woman. You need oil and patience. We're working with dried garbanzos, so not canned, real garbanzo beans, and these are finicky motherfuckers. So, what we need this evening, about a liter of water, half a teaspoon of baking soda, just drop it like that. And then you want to put your entire bag of dried garbanzo beans in here. I like to put a top on it, because you never know. These babies are gonna chill in the fridge for a night. And by a night I mean like until the next night, so like 24 hours. We'll see tomorrow how they do. Make sure you have a receptacle with enough space because those motherfuckers expand. Good night. Shh, I'm gonna go watch the Golden Girls. All right, it has been about 24 hours and let's take our chickpeas out of the fridge. Look at that. You see how much they've absorbed this water? The longer you leave them in there, the more water they'll absorb. Stick your hand in there. If they feel too firm, leave them in there for a little bit longer. Anyways, let's go drain these. Use a colander of some sort to make sure you don't lose any. I failed. And then you want to put them on some sort of flat surface, like a tray lined with paper towel, and you have to let them dry. Get it out. Let these dry for a few hours. Alright, while the chickpeas were drying, I took the liberty of preparing the ingredients that we're going to use because I am an adult. So we're going to need our food processor, and then for the sake of convenience, we're going to use the same little receptacle we used for the overnight soak. Now, since this is going to be a lot of filling, basically, of falafel mixture, I suggest we work in batches. Now, I went ahead and prepared the ingredients. 1 cup of parsley, half a cup of dill. You can add some cilantro in here if you want. I did not because I forgot to buy some. 1 onion, yellow. You can use red, but I went with yellow. 1/4. The recipe from the Mediterranean dish calls for 7 to 8 pieces of, cloves of garlic, just peeled, which means I used 10 cloves. Here I went ahead and mixed our spices already all together, and it smells wonderful. We have 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of regular pepper, 1 tablespoon of coriander, 1 tablespoon of allspice, and about a tablespoon of salt, kosher salt, and you can use that per your liking. Now it's just very easy. Now we just fill up this baby. See, I told you they would absorb water. I just want to fill it up. Now you're gonna be surprised at how much filling you're actually going to make. Like, it's a ridiculous large amount. Pull these. And again, since we're working in batches, pulse. I would pulse until it looks chunky. You know, you don't want it to be a smooth, beautiful. You want it to look like that. Pour that into this receptacle here. It already smells like falafel, let me tell you. Maybe give it a mix so that make sure you get all the spice. All right, now you want to seal this back up. And this will chill in the fridge for another 24 hours. I'm gonna clean all this up, have a panic attack, and then I'll put it in the fridge. Okay, it's nighttime again. Now that I've cleaned everything and cried, you wanna put these back in there overnight again. Bye. One day more. Yeah, patience. See you tomorrow. Woo! Ready to fry. All right, people, it is day 3, which means that it's Friday. Literally Friday, because it's the day where we're finally gonna be frying these delicious falafels. So, they spent the night in the fridge. Again, we took them out of that cylinder and put them in a bowl just because they're easier to work with. We want to grab baking powder. The first time we used baking soda. Now we want to use baking powder. Make sure you notice the difference. Do 1 teaspoon of baking powder and then 2 teaspoons of sesame seeds. And then using a spoon or whatever, you just want to mix that in there. Now you see how much mixture this 1 bag of garbanzo gave us. It's a lot. And that's it. Okay, so now the fun really, can you see me? Yeah, really begins. What you want some sort of heavy cast iron frying device. You want your, what is it called, like a web to scoop it up. Greasy canola oil. Maybe a tray to keep your oily ones. I'm gonna use a roasting pan with a sort of like a net because I have no paper towels. Before we begin frying, we need the oil in the pan. If that seems like a lot, it's probably because it is. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, but okay, well first turn this on. Put it like on like a medium high. You don't want the oil to get too hot, but you don't want to be here forever either. When you're making these balls, you really want to have wet hands so that they'll form. So let me show you. You know what? You might even want to keep a bowl of water near. Just keep wetting your hands. Wet your hands. And then just make, while that heats up, just make the balls. They work better, they form better if your hands are wet. As I've always found to be true. Hello? One. You don't want to make them too far in advance because then they'll dry out and then they'll separate, so they have to re-squeeze them. About the oil, you don't want it to get too hot, so I think the sweet spot is about 350 degrees. There's a way to test if your oil is ready. Number one, if you have a thermometer, you would know. You can also stick like a skewer into it, but I like just throwing something in there and seeing what happens. See, that's not ready yet. I believe we can fry. Chances are the first one's not going to be pretty. The first time is never good. So just be patient with yourself and just let it, see what happens. Yeah, that's not hot enough. That's not hot yet. We'll wait. We'll wait for the oil to be ready. All right, this is ready to go in there. I think. Again, it's the first one. The first one's always a sacrifice. Yeah, there we go. Be ready to have an ugly first falafel. And you want to fry them for about 5 minutes until they look like a falafel, honestly. It's like the color of a falafel. I don't know what else to tell you. That's a good one. I think that's ready. You can just leave that there to cool. And now we can just drop them. Do more than one at a time. But again, you don't want to crowd them. There's no such thing as perfection, but there's beauty in effort. You try one? Try the first one. Oh yeah. Wow, look at that. Baby. Look, basically this is it. Now you just repeat the process. You wet your hands, you make more balls, and then you fry them for 5 minutes until you're done with all your mix, until you're just done and bored. This is pretty much it. This is how you make falafels. So, I'm gonna do all of these, and then we'll chat again in 2 seconds. It took 3 days, but here you go. As they say, good things come to those who wait. Now, this one batch, this one bag of garbanzo beans yielded us 27 falafels. Now, imagine that number in more capable hands. I mean, you can feed 4 or 6 people just on this alone for a week. You'll be very falafel. And there's nothing better than homemade falafels. Because they're real and they're spectacular. Oh yeah.